What's up, guys? I'm Anthony Totri. He's Erik Ruby from the PHNX Sun Devil Show. And today we're going to be talking just a tad about Elijhah Badger, the top player available in the transfer portal, obviously a former Arizona State Sun Devil wide receiver. He has cut his list of schools down to 3. The Florida Gators, the Washington Huskies,
kind of hilarious,
and the Arizona Wildcats.
Devastatingly stupid. Listen, man, talk about going from hero to villain in just the blink of an eye.
Real quick.
I mean, listen, man, it was not that long ago. We were on a show saying, you know what? Maybe Elijhah Badger's the kind of guy who's going to stay.
Maybe.
Right? Like feeling good about him being around here. And now, fast forward, we're a day away from him announcing his next school. And on that list is the University of Arizona. Now, hopefully, and I'm personally leaning towards expecting him to go to Florida.
Yeah.
But the fact that it's in the final 3 is just tough,
I get it. I 100% get it. Again, for those of you that are a Washington fan or a Florida fan watching this video, Elijhah Badger is a really, really talented, talented wide receiver. The numbers don't really do him justice. 65 catches, 713 receiving yards, 3 touchdowns. Last year, played with a handful of different quarterbacks.
A running back and a tight end were quarterback for not an insignificant portion of your season last year.
Absolutely. In 2022, 70 catches, 866 yards through the air, and then 7 touchdowns. Also a little bit of a threat in the run game from time to time.
And the return game as well.
Absolutely.
That was one of his most electric plays last season was, I think it was like a 70-something yard return.
Yeah. He's absolutely going to be a wide receiver that plays on Sundays. Look, individually, we can kind of break these down real quick. Florida, I think, makes... I want to say Florida probably makes the most sense for him, just based off of being able to go to a school. You're going to get a lot of national attention at a school like Florida. Whether they're good or not, Florida is always getting a lot of media attention. I think that part of it is interesting for Arizona State fans, just simply because, hey, guess what? Ricky Pearsall.
Yeah, about to say it's
Ricky
like
Pearsall from Arizona
double.
State to Elijhah Badger, first-round wide receiver. Taken by the San Francisco 49ers. You look at Washington. Washington, if he lands there, then you've got the whole, Jed Fish going from Arizona to Washington. They're trying to rebuild that program. And it almost is a Washington, I think, in that sense, would be a way for Arizona and Arizona State fans to come together.
Like be unified.
Yeah, be unified under a hatred for Washington. Because it would kind of objectively be the funniest objectively would be for him to go to Washington.
Probably. Especially because so many Arizona fans are now like talking themselves into Badger. I mean, he's in the final 3, so obviously it makes sense. Listen, if you're any school, you're lucky, and Elijhah Badger's on your list, I mean, he's the number 1 wide receiver in the portal. He
number 1 player, I'd say, in the portal.
Yeah,
still.
He's legitimately like an absolute threat every single time he steps on the field, no matter what he's doing, and he will be playing on Sundays. Yeah. And to be honest, he will probably have a rather significant role. He's that good.
Yeah.
And it does suck and it does pain me to say that he won't be a Sun Devil next year. I think Florida is just the least hurt. Like repeating Pearsall, fine. I don't like it, but I'm not going to like lose my mind over it. Washington would be objectively funny. I don't think I'd like it at all, but I think it'd be objectively funny because it piss off Arizona fans.
Yeah.
But I don't understand, man, how you could be such a key and important player in these rivalry games for the Territorial Cup and be like, yeah, man, it's us on this side, it's them over there, F them, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And then
they go.
You're like, you know what? That doesn't sound too bad. And maybe it comes down to money, and if it does, it's probably going to be a Florida decision.
Yeah.
But
that money talks, man.
I don't know how, and maybe it's just different, man. But I don't know how to put myself in a position where it's like I'm going to jump from ASU to U of A. If you're like a lower level player, I'm like, okay, maybe you're like, I want to stick it to a program that didn't utilize me well. But like Elijhah Badger was a star.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I don't think Elijhah Badger, again, my 2 cents on it, I don't think Elijhah Badger is going to be an Arizona Wildcat. When that decision comes out, I would say out of the 3, that is probably the least likely. And part of that, I believe Elijhah Badger wants to go to a place where he could be wide receiver 1.
Yeah.
And he's not going to be wide receiver 1 at Arizona with T-Mac.
That's fair.
Again, that's couple that with the idea that Florida and Washington, in theory, have bigger bags to give.
Yeah, and they're more in desperate need of a top tier, top flight wide receiver.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think, again, at the end of the day, I think EK is going to be a Florida Gator. Would you agree?
I would agree. I don't know if that's just me hoping, but I do think that makes the most sense. And it just, you kind of like close your eyes and you imagine the jersey. Like, yeah, that kind of makes sense more than the other two. But I'll tell you what, I know for sure that when he does decide, we're going to be breaking it down on the PHNX Sun Devils podcast. That's live 5 days a week at 2 o'clock.
Absolutely. EK is set to announce his decision on Friday, May 17th. Ooh. PHNX Sun Devils show will definitely be live to discuss that decision and announcement. In the meantime, guys, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Go Devils, and peace.